If you have any experience of expansion, so whether it's through meditation or through medicine or whatever, just by sitting in nature, being quiet, or by hearing a beautiful piece of music, by a lovely connection with someone, anything that opens you into the deep. So that's not just a nice experience, but in that experience you have that sense of wow, this is it. Like of of the deep reality. And I'm sure you had these experiences. They don't come because you want them to have. They have their own. It has its own intelligence as to when such an experience opens in you. And the ground for such an experience to happen is always a deep openness within. So not necessarily a mentally opening yourself to it, or a great emotional opening. It's just an openness within, an openness of heart, in which you just are, and that is the ground in which unexpectedly something like that can happen. And that openness can even be there in an experience that is closed. Like you might feel closed, and then something shifts and you open, because the openness was there, even in that pain or in that closed constriction that you had before the experience happened. Anyway, what matters in that isn't the experience itself. It's the space that opens. The space is it, not the experience. And what I want to invite you in is, whenever you have such an experience, the next time you have it, or right now, if it's opening, whenever there is this opening of something deeper in you, drop through, drop into the space. Be the space that has opened to your experience, through your experience. See the experience that you have as a person like the field. That is like the field where it happens. But the space is beneath and beyond. So within that field, or within that scenery, an action happens, a circumstance happens, something happens that triggers the opening to what is so beyond that scenery. And what matters the most is to you then being that space. The distraction, the great possibility of distraction in that is that you attach to that experience. So, wow, you need to hear that music again. You need to take that medicine again. You need to practice that meditation more. You need to do this and this again, again, again. Because you attach it to the form that it was presented to you. You attach yourself to that form and believe by doing that form, you'll have that experience again, and then you'll be back in the space. It doesn't work like that. The space is an isness that isn't bound by any way in which you might get into it. It's not bound by a technique or a spiritual path. It's not bound by being in nature versus being in the city. It's not bound by stillness instead of action. It's all not determined by that, because space is free of that. The space may open in the most unusual circumstances. It may happen in the midst of the supermarket, in the midst of you being in the shopping and doing the thing, and wow, it opens. It's possible. It's real. It happens to people. And that is because the space is not dependent on the experience. Attaching yourself to the experience is the deviation. Dropping into the space is the key. Because if you're being the space, if you're being in the space, naturally experience will move in such a way that it opens that space. And it's incremental. It will be more and more and more. If you're being the space, experiences will just keep opening. But then also it's not about, wow, I had so many experiences, wow, It's not about collecting spiritual experiences. On the contrary, it will basically inflate your ego, because you're somebody who has had all these experiences. You're the great shaman or the great, I don't know, whatever identity you give yourself. What is identity? Personal identity is none other than using experiences, building them up and creating a structure from that. And this structure then you call, this is me. Forget about it. Forget about it. Just be the space. Let the space move it. The space move you. Let the space have you. Let the space be the everything that you're resting in. And then enjoy whatever experience comes your way. Hush, hush.